Barbells, dumbbells, and even some basic machines. They've been around since the beginning of bodybuilding, and some of the most impressive physiques of all time were built without ever having access to machines or any fancy equipment. As far back as the 50s, guys like Steve Reeves and Reg Park, they literally built their physiques with just a few pieces of equipment: a bench, a barbell with some plates, and dumbbells. This was the way guys built massive and aesthetic physiques, even into the 60s. Guys like Arnold, huge and muscular, lifting seriously heavy weights with T-bar rows, overhead presses, and even doing incline presses with benches that had no seats. They would literally have to clean the barbell off the floor and fall back into the bench to perform the incline press. It wasn't really until the late 60s and 70s that bodybuilders started using some machines to build their physique, and the majority of the training that was not done with free weights was just basic cable work with lat pull downs, tricep press downs, and seated rows. That's about it, and no one can argue about the results it produced. Arnold's chest was massive, and it was built using bench press, flies, and dips. Franco's back and his entire physique was extremely dense. That came from pull-ups, rows, and deadlifts. And these are all the foundational movements in bodybuilding. But many people get caught up today worrying about biomechanics, science, and whether or not wide grip pull-up is a teres major exercise or a lat movement. But let me ask you a question. What if you only had access to barbells and dumbbells? Maybe one cable machine. Would you still have bodybuilding OCD? Would you worry about trying to pick all the perfect exercises or make each one of them more efficient? Or because you were so limited, would you just hammer away at the basics over and over again? Get brutally strong on those basic compound lifts and not worry so much about the details that didn't matter because you had no other option? And if so, what do you think that would do to your physique? Well, just look back at the history, at the guys who did it that way. Bodybuilders 70 years ago, with bare bones equipment, were able to build massive physiques with little to no science or knowledge other than going off basic trial and error, hard work, and consistency. Yet today, in a world filled with information overload, guys are spinning their wheels. And it's not because the advancements we've made in science are bad. It's because you think you need a magic formula. You think you're special and you need a different approach than what's been time tested, tried and true. But what you really need is to just get better at the basics. You need to pull back on all the junk in your training. You need to quiet all the noise on the internet with useless information, and you need to challenge yourself to go to the gym, do the basics, get brutally strong, train consistently, and build a massive physique in the process. For guys who suffer from training OCD, this is one of the first things I always advise. And for you, I recommend temporarily scaling back. Try using just barbells, dumbbells, and cables. Watch how much more efficient you get at these movements if they're your only option. Watch how much stronger you get on basic exercises, and watch what it does to your physique in the process over time. And what about the guys who are using machines, more isolation movements, but have massive physiques? That's how they're training now, but I bet you they've all paid their dues. They've gotten brutally strong on basic compound lifts. Have you? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're looking for the training system that I built using these proven old school bodybuilding training principles, I recommend you check out my 5-day old school mass game program in the description below. And as always, if you guys want to see more of the best original bodybuilding content just like this, make sure to hit subscribe.